Happy GA Flashback Friday and apparently National Donut Day. I was not aware it was National Donut Day, but according to Facebook and the entire free world, it is National Donut Day. And after the day I had yesterday, I will be partaking in National Donut Day. Even if it's a tiny little donut, it will happen. My day yesterday started at 9 a.m. in a thunderstorm. I got up, was in desperate need of coffee because I did not sleep the night before. I went to Starbucks, got coffee, only to be caught up in this torrential downpour of a thunderstorm with the kids. And we were on our way to Party City to get birthday supplies for my oldest, who is turning 9, God help me, on Saturday, next Saturday, the 13th. And I needed to get invitations and stuff like that for her birthday party, which is actually in 2 weeks, but I needed to go ahead and get everything rolling so that I would be organized and everything would be done and yada, yada, yada. Only to turn around to go to Toys R Us to get a birthday present for our next door neighbor's little boy whose birthday party was yesterday. Only to go to said birthday party for a couple of hours, only to turn around to come home to get ready for the girls' back to school night for summer school because they start summer school on Monday. Thank God. Because they're driving me freaking nuts and they need to go back to school. And they will be in school for the next month. Hallelujah. Praise Jesus. That day cannot come soon enough. Please wait. Let me wake up tomorrow and it is Monday. Only to turn right back around to come home to get food out of my fridge to get Eden's Girl Scout vest to take her to her end of the year awards banquet because she bridged from brownies to juniors and moved up in the Girl Scouting world. Only to come home and want to die. Only to come home and not be able to sleep because I was too damn tired to sleep. So like I said, I will be partaking in National Donut Day. Because after yesterday and the heat that has hit Missouri today, I don't even know where this heat came from. I need a damn donut. But we are not here to talk about my day from crazy yesterday, or the fact that it is the surface of the sun hot outside, or the fact that it is National Donut Day. We are here for GA Flashback Friday, where we recap one of our past episodes of Ghost Adventures. And today we are diving into one of my top 5 favorites, the Moon River Brewing Company. Everybody go, yay! Because if you have seen this episode, you know it is cray cray from the beginning to the end and everything in between. Now, as always, I like to give you guys a little bit of brief history. When I say brief today, it's going to be brief. Because literally, I'm going to tell you what it was for, where it's at, and what it is now. And that's all the history. Because really, the walkthrough prior to lockdown and the lockdown are the highlights of this entire episode. So that's where we're going to focus. Now, when I say brief, I mean brief. The Moon River Brewing Company started out as a city hotel. It was first constructed in 1821, opened for business in 1826 in the most haunted city in the United States, Savannah, Georgia. History done, right? Right. Now, when the guys get there, they, of course, always do their walkthrough, and they do all their interviews, and they interviewed with historians and the owner, but my favorite interviewee of the entire flipping episode is a man named Murray Silver. He is a 5th generation Savannian, and he knows Savannah upside down, forwards, backwards, and everything in between. And he is a trip. So they're walking through the location with Murray, and he is telling them about the different attacks that have happened. There was an attack on a waitress, or on an author of a book during an event, and she was diehard Catholic, did not believe in the paranormal at all, and got physically attacked, like felt like she was being choked. Told him about, this, and then they were just doing their walkthrough, and you could tell that he was like really leery of Zach and the guys. Like he was like, this guy's full of... But Zach then gets hit with this surge of energy, and so he starts looking for what could have caused that, and was led to a room where a tunnel was constructed, because back in the day, of course, with, the time in the 1800s, the diseases were second nature. You had everything from smallpox and yellow fever, and so there was these tunnels constructed underground in Savannah that were used by people who believed that you got yellow fever from the air. So if you were underground, you were more protected. They were wrong, but beside the point. So he was led to this tunnel. Well, that leads them outside to one of the funniest moments of the show. I'm going to get it out of the way now because it was hysterical. So they're outside looking at this tunnel from the outside, trying to get in, and it's all blocked off. And Zach's like, there's something alive in here. He pokes his head in the corner and there's a cat laying there, probably with babies. And this cat lurches at Zach. I peed my pants laughing because Zach wigs out. He's like, ah, and jumps away from the camera, or from the camera that he's got. The cat flies off through the grass across the street. Aaron and everybody's like, that's awesome. Zach is white as a sheet. Hysterical. Forget the ghosts. Forget the paranormal. The cat versus Zach, priceless. So I wanted to get that out of the way because it was hysterical and it tied in with walkthrough. Had to talk about it. So funniest moment of the show goes to Zach versus the cat, and the cat wins. Now going back into the brewing company, and they're in the basement where there is a lot of negative activity in the basement. That's where the lady was attacked. That's where other people have been attacked. There's a spirit down there that they've named Toby that they believe does all of this. And Zach, literally, without him getting any other information, walks right into all these hot spots. And Murray is just blown away. He's like, he's found it again. So he knew right then that Zach was not playing. And Zach made the comment, you know, this was just another location to me, but I really think I'm meant to be here. And he's like, no, this isn't another location. This is Savannah. It's different here. No joke. So it was a pretty brief intro. Like sometimes the intros are pretty long, but this one was kind of cut and dry, to the point, pinpointing different experiences people have had, from, like I said, the experiences with Toby to the experiences with other people who have tried to renovate the Moon River Brewery. So, okay, Moon River is a functional restaurant and bar downstairs. It's all been redone. It's all, you know, it's a functional bar. There is the basement that's used for private events that is very active. And then there is the second floor, third floor, and fourth floor that are completely untouched. They look as original as and they're falling apart. And it's because people have tried to renovate them, and for some reason there's a spirit that does not want you messing with any of that. Tools will go missing. A foreman's wife was thrown down the stairs when she brought him lunch. Ladders have been moved and missing. So whatever is there does not want that place touched. So there's parts of it that look like it's falling apart, and it's because it is, because no one can do anything with it, because every time they try to renovate it, something happens. So that is it for the very brief history I gave you, and kind of the walkthrough. I usually don't highlight walkthrough, but this one was just a trip, so I had to do so. Now we're going to go into lockdown breakdown. Now, with lockdown breakdown, I'm going to break it down again by location, because there was a lot that went on in very specific spots of the brewing company. But before I do that, I need to say that I think this episode wins the XCAM Dark Tape Award, like the X Tape Award. I think they ended up setting like up 10 static night vision cameras on the X's, which I think wins the prize for the most X's during a show. I don't think they've ever had 10. And I don't think they've ever had like 5 or 6. And so to have 10, hands down, they win the award. So speaking of X's, they are now in lockdown. And they are going over all of their X's that they have marked. And they get interrupted by something. Zach hears the first piece of evidence of the evening, which is a dragging sound from upstairs. And therefore, their adrenaline is pumping. Now, I have not personally ever seen them act this way this early in a lockdown. I don't know if it was the adrenaline of the area or if it was just the environment they were in and their senses were already heightened, but they were acting nutso. Like, they were running up the stairs, they were running down the stairs, they were tearing open doors, flipping flashlights on, like they had already seen the biggest apparition of their life. I was like, it's not that serious. You heard a dragging noise. Slow your roll. But they were on some sort of mission. I don't know. But they let it go, and they go back to their XCAM setup, and they finish talking about their exes. And then they start their actual lockdown on the second floor. And this was where, like, the landings were, where the foreman's wife was pushed, so they were on the stairs. And they are 5 5 minutes into being on the second floor, and they start hearing these creepy laughs. And so Zach stands on the landing of the stairs and is taunting the crap out of these ghosts. I know, color me surprised. Put on your big surprise face. Zach taunting a ghost. But they get disembodied laughs, and they are creepy. Creepy. And then they get 2 EVPs that are crystal clear, and they're a female voice, and one of them says, "Don't do it," or "Don't do that." And the other one says, "I don't want to." And they are clear, and they are creepy. And we're thinking that there's this apparition that has been known to be there, the lady in white, and she is basically saying, "Don't do that. Don't taunt whatever's here to push you down the stairs. And I don't want to do it. So don't expect it from me, because it's not going to happen." They then move to the top floor grand room, or the 4th floor of the building, where they have tried to renovate. And Zach busts out we've seen it a couple of times, the database with the goggles, that is basically a night vision camera that with a database attached to it, and the spirits can use their energy to create words that appear on the goggles and on another camera that's hooked up to it too, so that there's 2 sets of eyes on the words. And Zach starts putting it on first, and he doesn't really get a lot. Like, he gets water because he's standing right by a bottle of water, and I guess the spirit's kind of drawing them to water. And this room was used as a hospital wing at one point, so it could have been a sick patient maybe asking for water. So then he hands it all over to Aaron, and Aaron puts it all on. And they get gender and sister, so they're assuming that maybe it's a female spirit trying to make contact. And then it kind of goes nuts. The video equipment starts staticking out, and then it loses signal altogether. And then they get an EVP that still sends chills down my spine. It is clear. It is like someone is in the room saying it, but you know it's not any of the guys. And it says, "It's the God." And I'm like, oh, hell no. Like, no. And I got to thinking about something on a little side note. They were at another location. I believe it was Letchworth Village. And they got an EVP that said, "Pray your God." And I thought to myself, those kind of go hand in hand. It's your God, pray your God. That just, to me, is evil and nasty, and I don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So then they go and they take a ladder. Once the goggles start working again, they take a ladder and they put it up against the wall like they're going to renovate. And the goggles come back with the database that says "remove step," which basically is their way of saying, "Get that ladder down. I do not want it here." And Zach's like, "So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do if I don't remove it?" And the machine says, "Yell." He's like, "Yell? That's not going to scare me." And they move on from that, not really thinking anything about it. And a few minutes later, they end up hearing a disembodied voice. And it is a clear, loud yell, followed up by something that they can't really specify, like they can't really figure it out, but they're assuming that it was finally yelling at them about the ladder being in the way. They then move to the basement, where all hell breaks loose. My favorite part of lockdown, hands down by far. Insane, cray, so excited to talk about this. Now, the basement is where the publisher was attacked during the event. A bartender down there has seen a shadow figure, and the pool table gets a lot of action where like the balls will move, and it's just a mess. So I was really excited for them to go to the basement, and I think they were pretty excited to go to the basement. And it did not disappoint. So they get down there, and they are taking pictures with their like infrared still camera. Zach and Nick are both taking pictures. And they take a few pictures, and then they begin to see a shadow, and they go to take pictures again, and surprise, surprise, the infrared cameras no longer work. They are just not working. Nick's quit, and then Zach's quit. Back to back, within just a few seconds of each other. So then they're taunting whatever they believe the spirit is. I think they believe it's Toby. And Zach gets this intense pressure and tenderness on the back of his head. Like, it brings him to the ground. And this is where I say all hell breaks loose. So Zach gets pain in his head. Nick begins to feel it. Aaron's seeing shadows. They're seeing orbs. Like, they're actually seeing orbs of light and like anomalies coming around. And then we get to the scariest moment of the show. The scariest moment award goes to Nick, because Nick gets possessed by something. Something takes him over and he is not himself. And you can see this happen. So Zach and Aaron, Zach and Nick, they're all talking about the pressure in his head, and Aaron is filming them, and you can see Nick's face change. He kind of steps back and kind of leans back, like he almost gets dizzy, and he gets a blank stare, like look over his face, almost like he's having like a silent seizure. Like his face is just cold still, just stone cold. He kind of sways, like, and he says, oh, my energy, my energy's drained. And then he goes to put his hands on the table and he puts his head down, and Zach is talking to him. He's like, Nick, look at me. And Nick looks up at Zach, and Zach kind of backs off, and he's like, dude, you look weird. What's wrong with you? And so they knew at that point something was really wrong, and Zach was like, Aaron, talk to him. What the hell's wrong with him, dude? What's wrong? He's like, I don't know what's wrong with him. He's like, talk to him. He's like, Nick, snap out of it, snap out of it. And they turn night vision off, and they turn a flashlight on Nick, and he does not look like himself. He looks pissed off. He looks angry. He looks demented. It's creepy. I have chills, like, because you could see the change in him. If you paid close enough attention, but prior to this, you could see the change in him. And they're just trying to talk to him. They're like, snap out of it, snap out of it. And finally, Zach walks over, kind of picks him up, moves him out of the way, and he's like, what's going on? What's wrong? Nick had completely blacked out, had no recollection of anything going on at all. And it was by far the scariest moment of the show, along with one of the best pieces of evidence, because you can just see the physical change in him. The next piece of evidence is by far that EVP. It's the God, because it was so flippin' clear and so flippin' scary. I agree with Murray Silver. It's Savannah. It's different there. It's a different kind of creepy. Every time they've done something in Savannah, it's never been disappointing. So overall, Moon River Brewing Company, bravo for scaring me to death. It is one of the greatest episodes they've ever done, because the evidence that they collect is so good. The EVPs they get, the experiences they have, it is so unbelievably awesome. And it's one of those episodes that makes you fall in love with the show. If that would have been the first episode that I would have ever seen, I would have been a fan from that moment on. And this is season 2. So I absolutely love it. It is on my bucket list to like go and check it out, because I want to experience it. I want to see it. I want to have those experiences for myself. Call me crazy, but I do. So that is all I have for GA Flashback Friday. I will be back on Tuesday for GAQA Tuesday, where I answer all of your Ghost Adventures related questions that you guys ask me all up on the Facebook page about the show, about the guys, whatever you want to know. Hit me up on the Facebook or message me, and I will answer your questions on Tuesday. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy, much love and happiness. I'm going to go have me a donut. I will see you guys on Tuesday. Bye!
Wow. There's like something alive right here.